Welcome, guys. For many of you, today is your first day at home with this lockdown. But for some of us, we've been home now for a couple of weeks, and the cabin fever is creeping in. I can just say for myself that I've seen if I don't have a good morning routine, negativity does tend to creep in a little bit. And that's why we are talking about a healthy routine today, and just how to start your day with some small things that set you up for a positive and productive mindset. So Carmen from Enhanced Beauty will be doing a quick makeup tutorial with us today, and it will be really fun if you guys follow along and just join in and post some pics of your makeup look afterwards, and tag Wed Ready and Enhanced Beauty in your photos. We'd love to see how your look turns out. Carmen, if you can just share with us, how did you decide on the name Enhanced Beauty, and what does it mean to you?
Hi, firstly, thanks so much for having me. It's so nice to be able to talk to you and just to share a bit about my experience and my business. So Enhanced Beauty, the name, I think the name is quite self-explanatory, but also open to interpretation. But my reason for choosing Enhanced Beauty is I believe that every woman has natural beauty, which is God-given. So that natural beauty is already present in every single woman. It's not something that can be added or can be taken away. So with everything that you do with regards to your physical appearance, whether it be to dye your hair or to put on makeup, I think the focus should just be to bring out your natural features and to enhance what's already there. I don't believe that it should be used as a tool to mask any insecurity, because I think when you are trying to cover an insecurity, that insecurity just grows. And yeah, so my business kind of focuses on positivity and growing your self-confidence in that sense. So how I run my business as well is I like to connect with my clients on a personal level, have open chats to them or with them, and I must say I've been really lucky, because a lot of my clients have opened up to me and shared some really deep things, which I sometimes find surprising since you hardly know this person, but it's beautiful to see that you can make them feel comfortable enough to share something like that. So yeah, that's really what Enhanced Beauty is about, and it doesn't just cover physical beauty, it goes deeper into your inner beauty as well.
Yeah, that's quite special. How does your morning routine look, and what will your daily routine be during this lockdown period?
Yeah, lockdown. I'm going to be honest with you. This last week or so has been quite weird, and it's been an adjustment with everything having stopped so abruptly. You know, business can't continue as normal. So I was subject to negativity, and I just got to a place where I realized that that's okay. I accepted the fact, because there's quite a lot of negativity going on at the moment, and yeah, I mean, it's understandable with everything that's going on, but what's also important is not to stay there, not to kind of stay in that pit of negativity, because the negativity might grow. So like you mentioned earlier, I think having a routine kind of reminds your brain of something familiar. So you kind of go back into muscle memory, and you realize that you will make this feel normal and just continue life as normal as it can be. So these last few days I've been trying that, and I've been seeing a big difference in my outlook on life, which is nice because in general I am quite a positive person. So what I've been doing is I've been waking up, and I don't set an alarm every day. Some days I do if I feel like I want to wake up earlier and get something done. But other than that, I also think this lockdown time is a good time to just sit back and rest a little bit. So I do allow myself to rest if I feel that my body needs it. And yeah, then once I've woken up, I like to spend some time in God's Word and just be filled with some positive truth, which gives me enough strength to last the day. Then I like to have something to eat, and then I like to exercise a little bit. Yeah, be creative with what exercises you can do now, since I like to go to the gym, but I can't right now. So I've been running up and down outside on the grass and doing some body weight training. There are luckily so many exercises online which you can follow. So I think it's nice to set some goals for yourself to hopefully come out stronger and fitter after this, instead of more lazy and fat because of all the food you've been eating. That would be great.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Yeah. But the rest of the day kind of depends, and it changes every day, depends on what I have to do or what I've got planned to do. Yeah, I think in this time I've also been spending some time doing things that I like, and that easily then makes me more positive as well.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and with your business, I know there's something exciting that you're working on that you will be doing during this time. What are you busy with?
Yeah. So at the moment, things, like I said, have obviously stopped abruptly. So business can't continue as normal, and that's okay. I'm sure there are lots of people out there who have it worse. So I'm still grateful for what I do have. Yeah, so the first step that I took is just to follow up with my clients to make sure that those events that were to take place during this lockdown time, that we have made other plans and arranged other dates. So that was the first and most important thing. And yeah, what Crystal was talking about is this idea that I have of doing an online makeup workshop. So I've been wanting to do a workshop many times before, and I think now is the opportunity to do that. And doing it online is possible because Zoom is such a great platform. I'll most likely use Zoom, and yeah, then I'd get some of you lovely ladies to join in, and we can discover new makeup looks, and I can give you some tips and tricks and explain some things you aren't sure about. And the nice thing is I'll be able to see you and you'll be able to see me, so we'll be able to follow each other step by step, and I'll be able to give you some feedback on what you are doing.
Oh,
so I'll definitely let
so
you know.
Interactive.
Yeah, I think it's so nice. It's basically like being in person, just not having to do the effort of coming here.
Yeah.
So in the next few days, I'll definitely be uploading some news regarding that on my social media.
Awesome. I definitely think I need to book a class or two with you. I'm one of those people, my finger to apply eyeshadow.
That's really okay. I like the finger technique.
Yep. Okay, great. So please take us into the tutorial and explain what products you're using so that we can go and get our makeup kit ready, and people can pause the video and follow along.
So I'll be taking you guys along on my everyday makeup look today. And for my daily makeup, I don't do something too extravagant. So I think this is ideal for a lockdown makeup look. Yeah, so I'm going to be mentioning some of the products I have here, which you can also grab if you have these. yeah, and then please follow along. I'd really like to see what your look turns out to look like. So I'll be using a foundation, or actually I'll use a BB cream. I'll talk more about that now. Then a concealer, a contour palette, translucent powder, your brushes, important, some mascara, eyeshadow palette, blush, and a lipstick. Nice bare-faced, hair clipped back. I'm ready for this thing. So I like to start off by just putting some Vaseline or lip balm on my lips just to get them nice and ready for when we're going to put on product later. So for my day-to-day look, like I said, I don't really put in that much time or effort. When I'm going out to a fancy event or something, I would prime properly and so on. But for now, I'm just going straight into my foundation. Or actually, I don't even use foundation on a daily basis. I like to use a BB cream, which is much thinner than a foundation, so it doesn't cake so much on your face. And I feel as though my pores don't get blocked as easily. And which is also nice about a BB cream is that it has a moisturizer already inside. And a lot of BB creams are also SPF, but I don't think this one is. I'm using the Garnier Skin Active BB cream, and I'm using my hand technique. Like I said, there's nothing wrong with your fingers. Then I just rub it on my face, kind of like I would apply a moisturizer or sunscreen. And just to make sure you get into all the little spots. Often people forget to blend into their hairline and also here around your eyebrows. That's very important to get as close as possible. And another thing, blend into your neck. So what I like about using my hands for applying the BB cream is that, oh, I just pressed on my voice, is that the blending works so nicely. You feel like a little child playing with face paint. And also, since the BB cream isn't as thick of a product, it blends really nicely with your hands. Then I go on to concealer, and I like to use this concealer pot. It is Studio Finish from MAC. I love this formula. You also get liquid formulas, but I really like this one. I have repurchased it, and yeah, it just stays my favorite. And I use a flat concealer brush. And I start by sort of drawing a triangle under my eye to cover any dark circles or redness I might have under there. And with a brush, I get as close to my lower lash line as possible. And I blend downwards when applying. It's important to make sure when you're buying a concealer, make sure that the shade is at least 1 or 2 shades lighter than your foundation shade, because this helps to brighten up your face when applying it under your eyes. And then I like to apply it to any other spots I may have, just to cover those little guys up. As you can see, I'm just applying it now, being very, very rough. Then I go in with a flat foundation brush and I blend it out. So I like to blend out in circular motions because this distributes the product evenly. Especially since the shade is lighter than my BB cream shade, it's important to blend it out so that the spots on my face don't stand out. And then under the eye, I do a sweep motion and blend away from the eye. And while focusing some of that product underneath the eye, I like to apply some of it onto my eyelids as well. I don't like to apply too much concealer on my eyelids for a day-to-day basis because it can easily crease in the crease lines. So next, I'm going in with a bronzer, and I'm using a bronzer from MAC. So basically the opposite of the concealer is the bronzer has to be a few shades darker than your natural skin tone. And I use this angled bronzing brush and just dip in a little bit of product and apply it right here underneath my brow bone. I always confuse my brow bone and my cheekbone. So you can feel where your cheekbone is and basically apply it right where your cheek would suck in. What's important about applying bronzer is the blending, because we don't want it to look as though you've just got this muddy stripe on your face. So I like to blend in a back and forward movement as well as upwards. And upwards gives the appearance that your cheeks are lifted instead of sunken down. All right, next I am going to use Absolute Translucent. It's a loose powder from Yardley. And I use this to set the makeup I've applied so far, which is basically setting any liquid products I have so that they don't crease. And also I've got a very oily skin, so this definitely helps to contain some of that oil. And it's worthwhile to apply this throughout the day, once or twice, if the oil does seep through. However, you can still apply this even though you might have a dry skin. It also just helps to set the foundation and so on, and to give it an overall smoother look. So I take some of the powder on this sponge, and I start by applying it underneath where we contoured, creating a very straight line. And you probably won't be able to see this on the video because I'm not using that much powder. I use more when I'm doing clients or fancy events. But for day-to-day use, I don't feel the need to apply too much. And then I go about dabbing the rest of my face with some powder. Focusing underneath the eyes is very important because that tends to crease, as well as on the eyelid. And I have an oily T-zone, so I also like to focus it a lot on my nose and on my forehead. Great. Next, I'm going to be filling in my eyebrows. So, in my opinion, my eyebrows are quite full-ish. So my idea is not to make them look thicker or darker or anything. I basically just like to fill in any open patches I might have, especially here and down here. So I start by using a eyebrow brush, which basically looks like a mascara spoolie, and I brush my eyebrows upwards. You know, get that crazy look going on. This look is actually on trend right now. I don't know how you all feel about that, but I'm not the biggest fan. Then I use an eyeshadow. I'm using a MAC eyeshadow. This is in the shade Embark. And the reason why I'm mentioning the shade is I use this on my clients as well, because it honestly suits most people. Except if you have very light hair, I wouldn't recommend this. It might be a bit too dark, but otherwise this works great for most people. And I'm going in with a an angled brush. It has to be very small, and this is a very important brush to have. So I know you're probably thinking I'm using so many different brushes, and that's definitely something to invest in, because the brushes you use and the types of brushes you use really makes the biggest difference in the outcome of your makeup. So this has to be a small defined brush to be able to get into the small spots and spaces of your eyebrow. So I start by lining the bottom part of the inner corner of my eyebrow. So I draw a line at the bottom up to about where you can see the shape changes. So from there on, I dab in some more product, and from the line that I drew, I push the product upwards in the direction of the growth of my eyebrow. This makes it more of a shaded look compared to a distinct line. Like I said, since my eyebrows are already fairly thick and full, I just want to cover the gaps. Next, I do the same, but with the tail part of my eyebrow. So I would draw a line, and then I would go into the top arch, and blend it down. For the eyebrows, it's not about how much product you use, but more about blending it properly. So make sure to push it up and always keep on applying in the direction of the hair growth of your eyebrow. And I'm just going to be doing the same with the other eyebrow. So for those of you who have much thinner eyebrows and maybe shorter eyebrows, who would like to extend your eyebrow or make it look thicker, in that case, on my clients, I usually use a brow pomade or an eyebrow pencil to make it look thicker and to extend the tail. And then after that, I would go over in a powder form of a similar shade. And the powder form kind of just sets the pomade or the pencil to make it look more realistic. And it's very important to make the tail actually go into it should be smaller than the rest of your eyebrow. And once again, just because I'm doing a daily makeup look, I'm not going to be defining my brows too much with concealer. All of that more in-depth stuff we will be discussing in my workshop. So yeah, definitely tune in for that. Then I like to just brush through my eyebrows again to make sure everything is blended. If your eyebrows tend to move around, which mine luckily doesn't, then you can apply a eyebrow gel, which would keep it in place. All right, next, I am going to be moving on to eyeshadow. So I'm going to be using this Huda palette, which is, honestly, my favorite palette at the moment. It's so pigmented, and just look at these beautiful shades. There are really so many nice, rich colors. And since it's so pigmented, you don't have to use that much product. The look, or the colors I choose per day differs on what I'm wearing. So for today, I'm going to be going with like a more pinky and browny look, since I've got a little bit of pink in my shirt. So yeah, it doesn't really matter what colors I use. It's just important to have different shades. So I always start out with the lightest shade. So I'm going to be starting out with this light pink shade, and I'll apply that over my entire eyelid. And when referring to the eyelid, I'm talking about all the space below the crease of your eyelid. I wouldn't necessarily recommend applying above that unless that's your style. You might look like you belong in the wrong era, but hey, I'm open for everything. Yeah, so this part I don't apply too neatly. It's just a base shade or transition shades, as some people like to refer to it. Oh, and I was using a flat eyeshadow brush. That is the best brush to use for applying your base shade, or yeah, eyeshadows in general, since it packs on nicely to the eyelid. But when it comes to blending, I like to use this fluffy blending brush. All right, so now I'm going to be using this brown shade. So we started with the light shade, and now we're moving on to a darker shade. And we're going to be applying this into the crease, the outer corner and crease of the eye. This just defines the eye nicely. So I focus on the outer corner. I hope you guys can see what I'm doing. Focus on the outer corner, and I blend in circular movements. Also moving towards the inner corner of my eyelid, but not completely. I like to stop just past halfway if I'm talking about when I'm looking straight, and if my pupil were to be the middle. So just past halfway. And it's important to blend out this part, so as to not have distinct lines between where the eyeshadow starts and where the eyeshadow stops. And the other eye. So yeah, once again, in my workshop, we'll be exploring cool colors and shades which suit your specific eye color nicely. So for brown eyes, I've got brown eyes, and sometimes when the light falls on it, a hint of green. Yeah, peaches are nice, and browns, purples, bronzes, those types of shades bring out brown eyes. So now, just to define that a little bit more, I'm going to be using the same shade of eyeshadow that I used to fill in my eyebrows, and I'm using a smaller blending brush, and then I'm going to apply this darker shade simply only in the corner of my eye, and just fluffing that out a little bit, but not bringing it up into the crease. So for my day-to-day makeup look, I like to have a very blended out eyeshadow vibe going on. I don't generally do a cut crease on a day-to-day basis. And just to make sure everything's blended out, I go back in with my bigger fluffy brush, and I just blend everything together. Okay, and lastly, for the top part, I like to use a small flat brush and a shimmer shade. So usually in this palette, I choose between this shade and this shade for this part. And I'm going to apply this into the inner corner of my eye. So applying a shimmer, a light shimmer shade, that's actually an important thing to mention. It helps to make your eye pop and make your eyes look more awake. So just in the inner corner of the eye, like that. Then to finish off the eye, I'm going in with a flat eyeshadow brush again. You can use the same one as which you used first. And I mix the light shade that I used and the dark shade. I take a bit of both, not too much, and then I apply that in the lower lash line. Not too much, like I said, and try and keep it as close to your lash line as possible. You don't want to look like a raccoon. This is just to finish off the look. Because on my day-to-day basis, I don't wear any eyeliner. Just because I find it easier to remove makeup when I'm not wearing eyeliner. Okay, then I take a fluffy brush again, and I just fluff that out so that it is blended. Okay, then the eyes are almost finished, but it needs some mascara. And you're welcome to add some eyeliner if you wish, but I don't prefer to wear eyeliner every day. So in my opinion, the type of mascara you use isn't that big of a factor. I feel as though if you are to splurge on makeup products, I wouldn't be splurging my money on mascara. And my reason for that is just because it tends to dry up within a month or two. So you'll be buying mascara so often that I just don't think it's worth it. So I like to use Essence mascara, and this is a waterproof mascara, which isn't actually ideal. It's not the best for your eyes since it takes the longest to remove, and if you don't remove it properly, some of the product can fall into your eye while you're sleeping. So please do remove it properly if you do wear a waterproof mascara. But something I want to draw your attention to is the shape of the brush. I really love this shape. Compare it basically to the eyebrow brush I was using. This brush would just kind of define your eyelashes, but this shape would give it more volume, and it gives it this really fluffy look, which I love. So I like to start applying to the bottom parts of my lashes. And then I do apply from the top as well to make sure that any eyeshadow that has maybe fallen on my eyelashes get covered. And it's weird, you do like this half open, half closed eye thing when trying to apply. And then I add a little bit to the bottom of my eyelashes. Not too much, because I'm not a big fan of the spidery lash look. If you apply too much, it looks like spider legs to me. And whoops, see, it is all normal. There we go. And next, which is one of my favorite parts, I'm going to add some blush, and I am using a Morphe blush palette. I'm going to be using, I like to mix some of my blushes to get the color that I want. So since we're doing pink, or I did pink on the eye, I'm not going to do too much pink for the blush, because that's just going to distract and it's just going to be too much. So I'm going to be mixing this shade, which has a bit more of a brown undertone, with this shimmer shade. And you are applying it, I apply it right above where you contoured, so right on your cheekbone. And I take it right from where my hair starts to the apple of my cheek. And I apply it by doing like a stripe motion as well as a circular motion, because this blends nicely. And once again, blending is top priority. Oh, and I just want you to take note of this. I don't apply much blush at one time. I literally just dab my brush into the blush, and rather I keep applying instead of putting too much on my brush and then you end up looking like a clown. Because what I also always tell my clients is it's easier to start off light and then go darker if you want to go darker, but it's kind of impossible to go from dark to light. You'd have to restart. So that is the technique of that. Then I go in with a highlighter, and this is a very nice shimmer highlighter. It's a mineralized skin finish highlighter from MAC. I've literally had this for so long and still there is so much left. So I use this small flat brush, again the one I used for the inner corner of my eye, and I take some of that product and I add it to my cheek. Once again, getting confused between cheekbones and brow bones. I apply it to the brow bone, so right underneath my brow. So this is sort of like a transition shade. Can you see that? Like a transition shade between the eyeshadow and your eyebrow. And the thing about a highlighter, a shimmer highlighter, is highlighting everywhere where the sun would naturally fall. Next, I'm going to take my ring finger and apply some here, right on my cheekbone, just above where I applied my blush. This gives you a very nice and healthy glow. Right. Then, last but not least, I like to finish off with my lips. It just feels as though the look is complete then. So I'm using this lip brulee. It's kind of a nudie type of shade of lipstick. Yeah, so I'm going to be using this. I think it's going to tie in nicely with the eyes. So like, as you can see, I like to outline my lips first with the lipstick and then I fill it in. And the most important thing I would say about a lipstick is neatness. So try and keep in the line and fix it up if it's not perfectly in the line. But yeah, just running through everything here. I think that is it. So that is the final look of my makeup. That's good.
I definitely learned a lot today. I'll be practicing. And you also have to send us a picture of your complete look. I really would like to see it on a picture. In the video, you can't necessarily maybe see all the details. Yeah, that was fun. Remember, guys, you can contact Carmen to book an online class with her. If you feel like you learned something from her today and would want to up your makeup game over this time that we have a lot of time, yeah, please do contact her. And also keep following us. We'll have more fun online events. Like I said, the art challenge, please join in for that as well. And then, guys, just stay healthy and positive. Thank you so much, Carmen.